Welcome back to Politics Tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us. Tonight, you're looking into how the federal government is addressing infrastructure deficits with the Minister of Works, Senator Dave Umahi. Honorable Minister, thank you so much for staying with us. Now, let's move on with this conversation. You suggested the idea of constructing superhighways from Abuja to Lagos and from Port Harcourt to Lagos. How feasible is this?
Well, even though I'm not hearing you very well, but at least you've mentioned very important project of the present administration, and you're asking how feasible is the coastal route, and I want to say that the coastal route, with all the help of God, is as visible and feasible and as a reality as the air we breathe it. We have advanced very seriously on the project, and I believe strongly that we'll be able to kickstart that project this year.
Right, but looking back, past administrations adopted various strategies to fix roads in the country, a strategy like Sukuk. What's the situation now?
I can't hear you. Can you be more audible, please? It's so faint.
All right. So what I said was past administrations adopted various strategies to fix roads in the country, like Sukuk. So I'm asking, what's the situation with that now?
A number of programs, we are deploying to address the road infrastructure deficit. Yeah, Sukuk, we are still on Sukuk. We are doing a PIDF, which is Presidential Initiative on, Infrastructure Development. We are on HDMI, like I said before, and of course, direct funding from the, budget. We have the tax credit where, private sectors, are free to develop, roads by front-loading their tax credits, to use it to do roads that will interest and improve their businesses. We also have the NMPC tax credit, which is also a very wise initiative whereby, certain routes within the distribution cycle of NMPC products, are being sponsored by NMPC. It's also a tax credit, which is front-loaded. So that many of these, programs. We also have the EPC plus F, that's engineering, procurement, construction plus finance. These are a number of programs that the federal government has deployed to vigorously, tackle the road infrastructure.
Right. So you just mentioned that the NNPCL is fixing some roads under the federal government's road infrastructure and refreshment tax credit scheme. What's the progress on the roads?
We have good progress on the roads, even though an NMPC is not funding 100% of the cost of this project. But so far, so good. It has definitely improved a lot in our road infrastructure deficit. And the projects are all ongoing and very well selected and very well supervised. And I want to commend the NMPC team and the FIRS, for their commitment and passion, towards this program.
All right. So we'd like to have some updates on this. How many more private companies funding roads under this scheme after the executive order signed by former President Buhari? Yeah,
we have the Dangote Group, and they're doing fantastic jobs, a number of places in the country. But the very visible, you can see and feel, is the Apapa Oshodi, Wurun-Shoki route, done with concrete road pavement. It's an excellent performance by Dangote, with a high-tech construction firm. We have the Bua Group that also doing some roads. We have MTN that, is also working on Enugu, Onitsha. There are few other companies that, indicated interest contracts signed, but they have not really taken off. I know of one other company, not as big as this company I've mentioned in Aba, that is doing concrete road pavement under tax credit. But we are, sent a paper to Mr. President to give us approval so that other big companies that are willing to engage in this tax credit will also be allowed to. The benefit of this tax credit is that their taxes of these companies are front-loaded because we have problems. We have problems, and we need funding to solve the problems. And when we solve the problems of this road infrastructure, it will increase everything, that will grow the economy. It will improve on security, on agriculture, on commerce, on education. Everything is about roads. If you can't move from one point to the other, it's difficult. You see, rich people, could send their people to private, universities, private hospitals, and so on and so forth. But you cannot have a private road. This is one thing that is common both for the rich and for the poor. And so road infrastructure is highly, a tool, or a very serious tool for the development of, the economy. And that's why Mr. President is taking very key interest in addressing the road sector deficit.
All right. Just for the sake of emphasis and better understanding, you have made a case for use of cement to build concrete roads in the country. How effective is it in building sustainable and cost-efficient roads?
Thank you very much. People just thought that concrete road is being introduced now. No. I should say that the father of concrete road in this country is Mr. President. When he was governor of Lagos State, he did quite a lot of work using interlocking ties. And interlocking ties is another kind of concrete road pavement. All over VI, there's nothing we put basically in that VI that will last other than those interlocking ties. And see, today, they're there. And so another aspect of concrete road pavement is the one we're doing, and this type is reinforced concrete pavement. And there are two types. You can have the ones, that you introduce some joints, which in case you can use BRC to do that. But you can also have a continuous reinforced concrete pavement, whereby you use some, sizes of rods, depending on the design, to put at the bottom of the concrete. And that takes, the tension at the bottom, because we are addressing, concrete on compression. Concrete is very good at compression, and those loads, vehicular loads, is all, adding to the compressive, requirement of any pavement infrastructure. So concrete is the best in terms of the compressive, answer to the load, pavement. But let me say something very important. The Ministry of Works has at no time banned the use of asphalt, or we have not said that concrete road pavement is the only, allowed road pavement. It has to be well understood. We have a problem in this country. We have, challenges that we inherited as an administration. And Mr. President has told us to all think outside the box. And we've seen the pressure on our naira. And now, when people want to talk about asphalt and concrete, and I say to them that when you want to compare one, with the other, then in economics we say ceteris paribus, all things being equal. This time, all things are not equal. We take off the asphalt. We're saying if we are using asphalt, no problems, we welcome it. But there's certain terrain that we must specifically, specify the use of concrete. In certain northern parts of this country, you can use asphalt, it's well acceptable, but you cannot say that asphalt is more durable than concrete. No. Why we say you can use asphalt is on the condition that the variation on the asphalt, which we call VOP, will not exceed 5% of the signed contract. And so if you are using asphalt, just know that the geometrical progression in terms of inflation on asphalt is not going beyond the 5% throughout the life cycle of that project. And that the thicknesses as we have designed must be maintained. and that it will have to endure at least 15 years of the shelf life of the asphalt. Of course, our asphalt life cycle is 20 years, but we say assures through an insurance bond that your work on asphalt will last for 15 years. Now, if you are using concrete, we are saying, yes, you can use concrete, especially in terrains where we have, challenges of swamp, and you have, a lot of rainfall, like in the south and other part, southern part of Nigeria and part of north central, and even some other parts of the north. You can use concrete. And we are saying to you, if you are using concrete, the design shelf life of concrete is 50 years, and the grade of concrete is 40, and so you have to use that. And when people compare asphalt to concrete in terms of cost, it doesn't follow, because in some of the roads being done on asphalt, they have even 3 binder costs of, 3 costs of binder costs, which is far higher in cost than the use of concrete 8 inches thickness on our roads. And yet, this one will last for 50 years, no maintenance, almost, and the asphalt will need to be frequently maintained. So the truth is that those contractors that are going about darkening council, without knowledge, know what they are digging for. I think that when people prefer that they must continue to use asphalt, it's because I believe strongly that they are using it to, freight away, the foreign exchange, and put pressure on the naira. And so, why is it that we cannot use what is locally available here and is more durable, and the inflection on the use of concrete is on a rhythmical progression, whereas that of asphalt is geometric progression. And so people will not ask you to commit suicide, and they won't tell you the type of suicide you commit. So when people debate on these things, it's quite very shocking, because they don't really understand, the dynamics.
All right. So, Honorable Minister, does this mean you're ready to back down on the use of concrete?
Hello?
I asked, I said,
Hello?
Does this mean, going by your explanation, Honorable Minister, going by your explanation, does this mean you're ready, or you're prepared, rather, to back down on the use of concrete? Because contractors are opposing to this.
Well, even though I didn't hear you very well, but each time you mention concrete, I'm excited, because we need to say this concept to our people. The use of concrete is not compulsory unless the ministry has indicated fully that concrete must be used. For all the ongoing projects, we have agreed with a number of contractors, and we have signed, without exceeding the contract sum, on redesigning the ongoing projects on concrete. And when people argue and say, look, to redesign this project is going to be against the legal, that will have legal implication. And I refer them to the same contract we signed with contractors, Article 2. And part of the Article 2 is stating the documents that, forming part of the contract. And the general conditions of contract is part of that, Article 2. And in Clause 51, it says that the client, through the engineer, can rescope the project, which means that they can increase the project, in terms of the size, in terms of, the length, the width, the thicknesses, the quality, the quantity, etc. And it goes down, to Clause 51 and Clause 52 to, specify that, we have to enter into an understanding with contractors. So we are doing this with the understanding of the contractors, and it is our legal right to demand. For example, if you have a contract and you didn't know that there is underground water there, and you get to that point, and then you need to change the scope, it is allowed under the contract to do that. And so we are covered fully, legally, in whatever thing we are doing in terms of our choices on the kind of pavement we use, depending on the soil texture and the subgrade strength. All
right. Honorable Minister, you're also campaigning against the use of laterite for construction of roads. Why this?
I don't understand what you mean by the use of laterite. I'm against that any road that is in existence. And some of these roads, have lasted for, 20, 30 years. And when we have such roads lasting for 20, 30 years, and you find out that the subgrade, which subgrade is made of laterite, or sharp sand as the case may be, that it has not failed, which means that the CBR, is still very good. That's the California bearing ratio. That is still very good. And so you don't go ahead to start removing the failed asphalt and start putting another laterite. There is no way you put a new laterite and you compact it that you can get a better CBR. And so what we have directed in all the existing road pavement that we want to improve upon is mill the asphalt, don't destroy the asphalt. Mill it and then pulverize it with the existing stone base. And then you put another stone base, fresh stone base, and then put your pavement structure. That is an excellent, construction procedure. But you find out that in some cases, they now remove the asphalt and throw it away, and remove the existing stone base, throw it away, and start feeding the subgrade with a new material, which is by every standard, lower in terms of the CBR strength, than the existing subgrade. So that is what you say, and it's very clear, and it's engineering practice. But in this country, even those who are not engineers, and I've called an NSA to check it, and I'm happy that FEC, Federal Executive Council today, has, directed that to supervise our road projects must be registered engineers. And so you see a lot of people jumping in as contractors without understanding, the engineering ethics. And so they begin to lecture people that should be lecturing them.
All right, Honorable Minister, now let's talk about bridges. Recently the federal government embarked on the rehabilitation of some bridges across the country. Can you give us an update on these?
I didn't hear you well. Can you be more audible, please?
I want us to talk about bridges. Recently, the federal government embarked on the rehabilitation of some bridges across the country. Can you give us an update on this? Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sure that you saw me on Saturday night inspecting the Third Mainland Bridge at night because our flight was delayed, so we came in late and we needed to do that. And then also inspect some other bridges like the Cool Bridge that work is ongoing. We are inspecting a number of bridges. We have a bridge department, and we are doing that because some of these bridges were constructed 50 years ago. Like the Third Mainland Bridge was constructed about 56 years ago. And, it's quite a very complex structure, but it needs full attention of the federal government. And we are giving that full attention. And a couple of things are needed. The piling, because, the pipes are, done under two conditions. They say that we are stabilizing the pipe under skin friction or it is end bearing. In the case of Third Mainland Bridge, what you have there is skin friction. And this skin friction is provided by sharp sand. And so over time, you have erosion and you have people digging, harvesting sand. And so we have a situation right now there, and we are tackling it because we've gotten some very technical people from outside the country, and of course, Jurobeja. They are now going to inspect the bed of the river to find out how far these pipes are doing. We also have a couple of attention that are needed, on the pipe caps and the piers, and even the deck. Very complex this thing because it has pre-stressed, mechanism of the tendon. So we are doing all that. Not just that, we are inspecting all our bridges all over the country to give it attention. And the bridge department, I'm very happy with what they are doing. And the stitching time saves 9. And that's what we have embarked upon. We get there.
Right. So let's also talk about the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which is one critical highway in the country. What's the progress report on that road?
I lost you.
I want us to talk about the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which is one critical highway in the country. Honorable Minister, can you hear me? I want us to talk about the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, which is one critical highway in the country. What's the progress report on that road?
Hello?
Honourable Minister, let me repeat my question. I want us to talk about the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway because we cannot have this kind of conversation without talking about that expressway. It's very critical highway in the country. What's the progress report on that road? All right. Let's take another quick break.